Let's bring in House Majority Whip Tom Emmer to discuss. Sir, very nice to see you tonight. Thanks for being with us. All right, so you got the thing passed. The president signed it. Now you got 2 weeks, okay, until the whole DHS thing comes up again. You know, just watching those clips, sir, it seems like you've got a pretty big gap between where Republicans are on this thing and where Democrats are. Do you think you can find some ground in the middle that actually allows us to still do our job with respect to the border and with respect to ICE?
Well, great to be with you, Brian. And first off, you're right. It was a big day today. We should have passed all 12 bills, but the White House, in particular the president, the chief, the negotiator in chief, said this is what he wanted done, and he wanted those bills to his desk today. We got them all 11 bills. They've already been signed into law, and you're correct. Now there's a continuing resolution that will fund Homeland at its current rate. It's not 2 weeks because we've already burned a few days. It's more like 9 or 10 days.
Okay.
And this is going to be President Trump negotiating with Democrats. And you've heard the Democrats. What are they negotiating about? We have funded the federal law enforcement, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Division. We funded them through 2029. That's not the issue here. The issue is going to be, really, they want to shut down TSA, they want to shut down FEMA, they want to shut down all these different, the Coast Guard. That's what they're playing with. They're playing with Americans' lives again, yet again, over a fight that makes absolutely no sense. Republicans are the ones that are doing the responsible thing. I would hope that our president gets them to come to the table and do the responsible thing as well.
It does feel, Congressman, like we do see some negotiating kind of happening in real time. You know, for example, we've already heard from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem about body cameras being worn by ICE agents there in Minnesota, announcing that that's going to happen moving forward. That was one of the Democrats' demands. You know, another one of the demands that we're hearing from them are reforms to the administrative warrants. And just this morning, we had DHS's own Tricia McLaughlin on air talking about what the Democrats are demanding with respect to the administrative warrants. Listen to what she has to say here, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
I won't get ahead of the White House as far as on those negotiations, but I do think as far as those administrative warrants, there's a mass campaign of misinformation as far as what's going on. Whenever an administrative warrant is used, our law enforcement, there's a final deportation order for that illegal alien, so they have had full due process as well as there's probable cause. So those are very much lawful. They were used in past administrations, including the Obama administration. So there's some political gamesmanship going on there.
So, Congressman Emmer, in talking to your members of the GOP, what is their feeling? What is their temperature on talking about the administrative warrants here?
Well, first off, Lydia, thank you for bringing up the body cams. But suggesting that it's a Democrats' demand is completely false. If the Democrats actually wanted body cams, hats off to Secretary Noem for ordering body cams in Minneapolis. But the bill that they are holding up has money in it already for body cameras. So the idea that this is one of their demands is another one of these shiny object things that they put out there. The media needs to hold them accountable. This money is already in the bill that they are now holding up. When it comes to administrative warrants, that's a non-starter. I mean, this is not a serious proposal to have judicial warrants on top of administrative warrants. Literally what they're trying to do is create a situation for mass amnesty, which no one in America wants. And this is exactly what Biden was trying to do with his wide open border that Donald Trump has ended. One of the reasons that Republicans control both the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House, and Donald Trump is in the White House to resolve this very problem. The Democrats seem to want to continue to side and protect the illegal criminals. You keep talking about illegals. Let's talk about who they are. Rapists, murderers, they're drug dealers, they're pedophiles. These are the worst of the worst, and that's who they've been taking off the streets of my state, and God bless them for it.
You know, I'm hearing a lot of talk about ending sanctuary cities, okay? Senator Lindsey Graham mentioned it in the clip that we just played a second ago. That sounds great to me, Congressman, but I gotta believe to get any Democrats on board to get DHS funded, there's no way they're going to agree to that. Am I wrong? Is there some opening here that you actually think you could push back and end sanctuary city policy with all this?
Well, I think Donald Trump is actually in the process of doing that by enforcing federal law, something that my state has refused to do since 2021 under Keith Ellison, our Attorney General, and Tim Walz. But going forward, you're asking a bigger question about the negotiation. Are there Democrats who understand that their tax-paying citizens, law-abiding citizens, are the people who hired them to represent them? Yeah, I think they still exist. But are they going to be able to have the courage to stand up and do the right thing in the face of this mob that has taken hold of our streets on the left, these Marxist, socialist, anarchists that are literally causing the problem in the streets of Minneapolis, that have been invited there by Tim Walz, Keith Ellison, and Mayor Smallfry? They've invited all these crazy people there, and you know what? These guys are more afraid of them than they are of doing the right thing for the law-abiding, tax-paying American citizen.
You mentioned your state, and we wanted to get your thoughts on this latest development coming out of Minneapolis. This relates to the remarkable and stunning fraud that's been uncovered there, that the Trump administration and you and your fellow colleagues are trying to hold your state leaders accountable for. U-Hauls just this afternoon were spotted outside of that infamous daycare, the Quality Learning Center daycare that was receiving funds, but evidently providing absolutely no child care services.
The Leering Center.
Right,
Thank
the
you,
Leering
Brian.
Center.
Yes.
Well, apparently they're on the way out. They're not setting up shop again. We just wanted to get your reaction on this late breaking news. It looks like they're closing and I guess you could say going out of business, although we're not sure what kind of business was ever there to begin with.
Yeah, there was never a business there. I mean, there's daycare scams, there's child care scams, there's housing stabilization scams. You're talking about billions of dollars. They've already identified up to $1 billion. The U.S. Attorney's Office suggests that the number could ultimately get up close to $9 billion that have literally been stolen from the Minnesota taxpayer under Tim Walz's administration in just the last 7 years. These guys, they claim that there's no fraud. Tim Walz said it was make-believe the other day. You know, somebody should remind him that we have already had the largest pandemic fraud case in the country where they've convicted 60 people so far. The fraud is real. There are whistleblowers out there that claim they told our governor when it was happening and that he not only ignored them, but that he retaliated. And we got a kid named Nick Shirley who shows up and finds more fraud in a matter of hours than apparently Tim Walz has found in 7 years.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I laugh at the Leering Center because it's so stupid, but at the end of the day, it's a ripoff of taxpayers in Minnesota and across the country, and we got to find out who's at the heart of it. Whip Emmer, nice to see you. Thanks for taking time to be with us today. We appreciate it.